A common question when moving is circulating around the topic of moving insurance and what options you have as a shipper or customer of a moving company. The most important takeaway from using a moving company is this. When you are moving, the very act of moving presents a risk of damage, and occasionally it provides basically an inherent risk of loss of your items. So, that is number one when you are hiring a moving company, just to understand that that is an inherent risk of performing the work, and if it's not acceptable, don't move. As silly as that sounds, but it is a risk. It is also a higher risk, typically, I want to say probably double the risk if you are doing it yourself, because movers, they are professionals. However, that doesn't mean they're perfect. What baseball player goes out and goes up to bat and hits 100% of the balls into a home run? What pitcher, throws 100% strikes? And that is basically, the number one takeaway when you're hiring a moving company. You have to accept that loss and damage is a risk of moving. So, with that being said, what is the risk of damage? I want to say that damage likely affects about 2 to 3% of moves. That means 2 to 3 people out of 100 will likely see some sort of damage, maybe loss, during the course of their move. With that being said, what is the biggest cause of damage? I will say, from years and years and years of experience within the industry, being, around shipping and receiving for probably more than half my life, the principal cause of damage, it's not generally handling issues. While it can be handling issues, it is very much more likely to be occurring while goods are being shipped in transit. It's the truck bouncing around, hitting potholes, that sort of stuff. What are the highest risk items to ship? I would say number one riskiest item to ship within the moving industry is the television. And every year, TVs are getting more and more fragile. They're getting highly affected by, rattling around in the moving truck. Every time you hit a bump, it's putting a lot of stress on the screen, and these screens are getting more and more fragile every single year. So you have a duty to take reasonable precautions to protect these TVs. A lot of the insurance companies are putting disclaimers on, their shipping that insurance for televisions is completely null and void. They're just not taking responsibility for it. You have to take responsibility for your own TV. My recommendation is to have the proper box for a TV. Whether it's the original box the TV came in, or you must purchase a box. Every TV is unique. Every TV has its own height and width. Every TV is different, so you have to usually custom order TV boxes or go to some sort of store like Home Depot or Lowe's, and you have to make sure you're writing down the height and width of your TV so they can get you the right box. Outside of a box, you can also do 2 or 3 layers of bubble wrap, and I always recommend the 3/4 to 1 inch diameter bubbles, not the little tiny ones. Those aren't going to do anything. What you need to do is provide some shock absorption to the potholes in the road when the TV is in transit. And you got to take care of the TV. And again, if a mover is telling you not to worry about the TVs and they'll take care of them, you got to understand they're not going to have a store or a warehouse on the truck. Every TV they encounter is going to be a unique set of dimensions. So, you got to be careful if they're telling you they're going to take care of the TVs and they didn't get the dimensions from you. That means they're not going to have a proper box. What a lot of movers are doing is blanket wrapping. Blankets provide protection against scratching, and they don't provide any shock absorption at all. They're usually just thin little quilts, so that's not doing you any good against the bumps in the road, and that's why TVs seem to be probably the highest risk item within the moving industry for damage. And unfortunately, a lot of insurance companies will not take liability at all for televisions. A lot of times they're going to tell you, we do not take liability for high risk, high value items. So TVs are number one. Number two, from what I see out in the field over many years, your typical pictures and mirrors, glass, that's number two. Think glass fronted pictures, mirrors that are made of glass, coffee table glass tops. Again, I recommend 2 to 3 layers of bubble wrap. Blankets don't do a lot of good in regards to glass. Glass could also mean your dishes and glasses and snow globes within boxes. Mind you, moving companies are generally not going to be taking liability for any boxes deemed packed by owner. You will find almost all moving insurance has a policy where they will not be covering for anything packed by owner. So that means anything other than furniture. They're usually covering you for the furniture, which is to be wrapped in moving pads, but they are not covering for things that should be part of the pack. And a lot of people do not choose to have the moving company pack. And what a lot of people don't realize is, even if a moving company packs, the insurance company still is not going to take liability if the moving company is not hired to unpack. This is getting very, very expensive. So you can see that sometimes, as someone who's moving, we just have to accept the risks as what they are. So that's number one when we're moving forward with a moving company, is we just have to accept the risks that there might be loss and there might be damage, and we might not get a lot of financial compensation for such. A lot of people within the industry get upset for not getting financial compensation for what is inherent risk. They think they're entitled to thousands of dollars, and they are not. So that is the first and foremost thing that someone needs to accept when they're hiring a moving company, that it's not a ticket to free furniture, and it's not a ticket to free artwork worth thousands of dollars. That's not what a moving company is. You're hiring a moving company because it's really, really hard and it's not fun. And we might not be in our 20s anymore. And our friends might not want to work for pizza anymore. So that's why we're hiring a moving company. It's not to get a new refrigerator. It's not to get a new couch. It's not the lottery. We're not here to get free stuff, by hiring a moving company. So number 3, other than glass, mattresses. I highly recommend plastic mattress coverings when you're moving. There's, depending on which part of the country, I hope you're in the United States, because everything I'm talking about is based around, the common policies you're going to find within the United States. I don't know anything about moving, say, in Japan or Europe or Africa. No idea. So I'm referring to the way things are in the United States. So, depending on which part of the country in, there may be a chance you are going to be moving within the rain. So if it is raining, a plastic mattress covering is a very cheap and affordable way to prevent damage or your mattress worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars from getting wet. If it gets wet, it is ruined outright. It's probably going to suck up that moisture, get a musty smell, and it is never coming out. Maybe it'll come out years later, but you don't want it to get wet. Even if you are not moving in the rain, you still want it covered because mattresses are very heavy. A lot of times movers need to put it down multiple times on the way to getting it to your truck. And you could be in an apartment building with a 500-foot walk or more. So you need to make sure that is covered. So if they put it down on the grass or the dirt or the stairs or the floor, you do not want to get it dusty or dirty because that is gross and we're sleeping on these mattresses. So you want it covered. Trucks are generally broom swept and clean, but not that clean. I wouldn't pick up food off the floor of a moving truck and eat it. That's gross. So you want to cover the mattress with a plastic mattress covering. Other than that, it's really just items within boxes. You want to use plenty of pack paper. You want to prevent glass from clanging together and, rattling and shaking and rolling. You want to stuff your boxes so that nothing within the boxes move. And you want basically to, just prevent this stuff within the boxes from being damaged, just damaging itself. You could have two snow globes playing together and you have broken stuff. And again, you can't rely on insurance to cover this stuff because they don't want to. They don't want to pay you. Insurance companies are experts. They're there for true accidents. And, poor packing is not an accident. It's not like the truck rolled over and, it's just this fluke thing. So you gotta prepare appropriately. What happens if something is damaged? Well, if you are using a licensed moving company, you will get some sort of coverage if it's not packed by owner. What is that coverage? I can actually tell you really no matter where you are in the United States. The insurance industry generally classifies anything within moving for most people under used household goods. The current value of used household goods set in the United States, you are going to find this whether you're in Massachusetts, California, Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska. It is a very, 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 very familiar figure to people who use moving companies a lot. It may be a familiar figure to people who have never used a moving company, but to people who have used a moving company before, the value of used household goods is 60 cents per pound per item. The example insurance companies use, if you have a table that weighs 100 pounds, you are going to get $60 back for that table. It's intended for repair or replacement with a used table. We're not talking going to a high-end furniture store and getting a replacement table. We are talking about going to a donation facility or a yard sale or online marketplace. Used furniture. That is what you get through moving company insurance commonly. 60 cents per pound per item. Think about it. It's not a lot of money. You may also have an insurance plan that someone sold you and they're making commission off it and they're charging you hundreds of dollars for it, and they say, oh, you have $100,000 worth of coverage. You have to be careful Because even though you have that much coverage, doesn't mean they're going to honor that much coverage. In the event of loss or damage, they may come back to you and say, yeah, you had $100,000, so, you're covered if you have 200,000 pounds worth of shipped goods, but you only had a table, and it's 100 pounds. And look at this. The umbrella says this is worth 60 cents per pound. So here's $60. So you might get $60 through your moving company, and you might get an additional $60 through the extra insurance that you pulled out that you had purchased from someone who made commission on that plan. So you gotta be careful, because you just do. Almost every moving company offers $1.25 a pound versus 60, which is double the coverage. I do not usually ever recommend taking that out. The reason being, you are going to pay for it. As I said before, about 2 to 3% of moves have any sort of loss or damage. 2 to 3 people out of 100. So it's fairly unlikely to have damage if you're taking proper precautions. I would say the average damage claim, and the reason why they use 100 pounds as an example, is because 100 pounds is about the average damage claim. So if you take $1.25 out, you're going to get $125 back versus $60 back. A little over double. But you paid to upgrade. Commonly, you're going to pay more to upgrade than you just got back. And you're going to be underwater. So, am I saying never take out $1.25? No. What I'm saying is, don't take out $1.25 because you're worried about one item getting damaged, which is the most likely scenario. Take $1.25 out because you're afraid of total loss of the shipment. Under total loss of a shipment, say a moving truck has 10,000 pounds worth of goods, total loss, gets on an accident on the highway, total loss of goods, you're going to get $6,000 back for your shipment. Under $1.25, you'll get $12,500, a little over double. Was it worth the $200, $300, $400, $500 you paid to upgrade? In that case, sure. You also have to be careful of what's considered full value moving insurance. A lot of times, full value is not truly full value, meaning if you have a grandfather clock worth $13,000, are they going to give you $13,000 back for that? Not likely. Commonly, what full value means within the moving industry is $4 a pound versus 60 cents or $1.25. With the full value plans, at that point, I commonly see not only people paying even more to upgrade than they are to $1.25, but this is where you start seeing deductibles. So you have a 100-pound item. You could get $60 back through the base coverage for most insurance companies that are going, for the movers. You get $125 through the $1.25. You'd get 400 for the $4. However, now you likely get nothing because a lot of these full value plans come with a $1,000 deductible. So, again, will it be worth it to get full value? Do not get that plan if your fear is your one 100-pound item getting damaged, which is the most likely scenario. Get it because you're afraid the truck is going to be a total loss on the highway or something crazy like that. So basically, 10,000 pounds, you'll get $6,000 back under the base coverage. You will get $40,000 minus your $1,000 deductible, say $39,000, if you have total loss through what's commonly called full value insurance through the moving industry. I'll tell you, almost no one makes out, with the full value. I usually recommend most people just take the basic 60 cents per pound per item. So what happens if you have an item like a grandfather clock worth $13,000. What options do you have? Because moving coverage through moving companies just usually isn't going to cut it. At that point, I tell people you could always take it yourself separate. Remove it from the equation entirely. The other option you have, if you own a home and you're moving to another home, call your insurance company, the homeowner's insurance company. Tell them be upfront, this is worth $13,000 and I'm moving it from here to here via a moving company. What do I have to do and how much am I going to pay to get it covered? And they'll walk you through the steps more than likely. No insurance company, no one is going to have some sort of damage occur during a move and accept someone coming back after the fact saying this is worth $13,000. That's just not how it works. With insurance, the key is proper declaration ahead of work being done. No one wants surprises. No one's gonna trust anyone's word for the value of an item without a proper assessment or receipt or it's just that's where people get really, 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 really upset when they're not making what they think an item is worth after the fact. Because again, value is really only what someone is willing to pay for an item. So if you have a grandfather clock and you listed it on the marketplace today, do you really think anyone's going to offer $13,000 for your grandfather clock within 24, 48 hours? If the answer is no, you're probably looking at a similar situation to a car. You buy a car for $24,000, you drive it off the lot, right off the bat, you're down to about $11,000. The moment you drive it off the lot, things are just not worth what you think they are. Insurance companies are really, really well aware of this. They do this way more often than you do. So when you're hiring a moving company, basically you gotta accept there could be loss or damage. There could be. It's inherent. You gotta accept it. Again, if you don't accept it, don't hire a moving company. And furthermore, you gotta accept that you have used household goods. You're not a corporation, you're not a factory, you're not industry. These items that you're shipping are not brand new packaged from the factory. They're used household goods worth 60 cents per pound per item. And when we are hiring a moving company, it is on us to properly protect these items. Almost every single item that is able to be damaged in the moving industry is preventable. We throw an air bubble around that item, we generally do not have anything to worry about. So we need to make sure that we are providing an air bubble around everything that's important to us. If we are not, there is a risk that our TVs are going to be damaged just from hitting a pothole. There is a risk that our mirror is going to crack just from hitting a pothole. There's a risk that our granite slab is going to crack in half just from hitting a pothole. And there's a risk that our mattresses are going to get rained and poured on just because we didn't cover it in a plastic mattress bag. So when you are moving, the most important thing is preparation. And we do have basic insurance to fall back on. I always recommend just take the basic, but fully understand what the basic actually covers you for. Used household goods, 60 cents per pound per item. And if you have a 1 pound item that is worth $25,000, put it in your car and take it yourself. If that's not acceptable, talk to an insurance company and say, I have a $25,000 $1 pound item, and I am shipping it from here to here. How much coverage can I get for what cost? And now everyone's on the same page. The insurance company has an opportunity to assess the risk and, give you a proper plan. No insurance company is just going to give you a blind amount of money. You can't hire a mover, select basic insurance, move forward with the move, have it happen, have that one pound item damaged, and then say, oh, by the way, that was worth $25,000, without informing the insurance company, without informing the moving company, and without informing the movers. No one had an opportunity to take proper scaled actions to make sure that was being moved a certain way if it truly is worth that much money. Otherwise, everyone's just kind of assuming everything's 60 cents per pound per head. So that is the biggest takeaway, and I hope this video can be of some help to anyone potentially moving soon, or planning to use a moving company and they have no idea what moving insurance within the moving company industries entail. So again, just wanted to throw this out. Hopefully it was useful. I have years and years and years upon years of experience within the moving industry, so hopefully this is able to help someone who does not have those years of experience.